Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news this morning, a car ends up in a driveway upside down. The driver's injuries after this crash early this morning in Wake County.
And we'll have another round of thunderstorms today with some localized flooding possible, but the timing is different. I'll show you the hour-by-hour forecast coming up.
President Biden's decision to drop his re-election bid has opened the donation floodgates for Kamala Harris, her first full day of campaigning, and the response from GOP vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance during his first solo rally. Good morning, everyone. It is 4:30. A lot to tell you about here on this Tuesday as we get your day started. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Good to have you along here. And as we get into our work week here, settled in, I should say, on this Tuesday, the ups and downs of our weather. Amy Wilmoth in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. We should get ready for a ride this week.
That's right. Yeah, more rounds of storms will be with us on and off throughout the work week, but this looks different compared to what we had yesterday. Yesterday, we had a very active radar for the morning commute. This morning, it is very quiet. The timing is a little bit different today compared to yesterday. We stay mainly dry the first half of the day. It's really not until late this evening that the storms start to fire up. So for the evening commute, we'll have some scattered showers and storms, and those will continue into the 7 and 8 o'clock hour as well. This is a live look at RDU. Nice and quiet at the airport. Hopefully they can catch up on all the mess that they've had over the last several days with all the delays. At least weather isn't a problem here locally. 75 the current temperature in Raleigh, 74 in Rocky Mount, 74 in Fayetteville, and it's 77 in Clinton. Your exercise forecast for today. You'll probably want to get it done early if it's going to be outside. It's going to be hot and steamy because those storms fire up later in the day. 91 for the high with heat index values in the triple digits. I'll show you when this stormy pattern is likely to end coming up.
A driver is hurt after rolling his car in southern Wake County. The crash happened about 12:30 this morning on Panther Lake Road. It is right near Willow Spring, and video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker shows that car flipped right over in that driveway near Leando Drive. Troopers say the 21-year-old driver has only minor injuries. We're working to find out the cause of that crash.
Showers and storms across the region yesterday caused flash flooding and other problems for drivers. This was what it looked like on East Millbrook Road in Raleigh, where that white van was stuck in floodwaters. We're told the driver was able to make it out safely. Near South Square Shopping Center in Durham, a sheriff's deputy risked his life to save a driver. We're told the Good Samaritan alerted the deputy to the driver trapped inside that SUV under the Tower Boulevard overpass. Together, they broke a window and opened the door to free the driver. And on 15501 in Durham, a pickup truck driver crashed into a hole while trying to get around flooded roads. Crews from a local towing service needed to pull the truck out.
The Wall Street Journal is reporting Kamala Harris's campaign has requested vetting materials from potential vice presidential nominees. Governor Roy Cooper is one of 6 on that list. Also on the list, Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona, Governors Josh Shapiro, Gretchen Whitmer, J.B. Pritzker, and Tim Walz. Governor Pritzker's office is denying he received any vetting materials. We're working to learn what Governor Cooper's office has to say about that report.
Harris's path to becoming the Democratic nominee for president is becoming clearer. On her first full day in the race Monday, Harris secured the backing of enough delegates to clinch that nomination. She also set a new record for campaign funding, bringing in $81 million in the first 24 hours after President Biden announced his withdrawal. Along with the money, the Harris team signed up 30,000 campaign volunteers. She also received several high-profile endorsements, including Nancy Pelosi, as well as Bill and Hillary Clinton. She addressed campaign staff in Delaware last night, reminding them there is still a lot of work to do.
So in the next 106 days, we have work to do. We have doors to knock on. We have people to talk to. We have phone calls to make. And we have an election to win.
Harris's nomination is not yet a lock. It's unclear whether anyone else will challenge her, though, let alone pose a real threat to her.
And Renee, the Trump campaign is having to shift gears for a likely showdown with Vice President Harris. Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, mocked Harris during his first solo rally in his hometown of Middletown, Ohio.
I was told I was going to get to debate Kamala Harris, and now President Trump's going to get to debate her? I'm kind of pissed off about that.
Trump campaign aides have told NBC News they have worked for weeks preparing to run against Harris. Her potential elevation could change some fundamental dynamics of this race. A poll taken Sunday shows Harris doing better than Biden was against Trump, placing that race within the margin of error. Trump will continue his campaign tomorrow. He stops in Charlotte. He'll be at Bojangles Coliseum for a rally, and you can count on WRAL for coverage of that tomorrow.
Another day of headaches for air travelers as RDU enters its 5th day filled with flight cancellations and delays. This is because of ongoing issues from the global tech outage. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from RDU right now. Kelsey, Delta still the hardest hit airline.
Renee, exactly. I've even seen some passengers anxiously checking their phones to see if they have any notifications about those cancellations or delays. But there are 17 cancellations already this morning here at RDU, according to FlightAware. And you can see here on the flight board that some of those notifications are already there saying that flights have been canceled between weather delays and the global IT outage. Airlines still can't catch up. Delta is hit the hardest. Delta canceled more than 4,600 flights Friday through Sunday. This from NBC News. We spoke with one traveler whose flight was canceled yesterday. The next flight is scheduled to take off later today. He's been stuck at RDU for nearly 24 hours.
What choice do I have? I already checked out my hotel. I have nowhere to go. This is my home for the day.
And we did reach out to Delta for some clarification on who qualifies for vouchers and whether travelers can get reimbursed for meals and hotel expenses. We're still waiting to hear back. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live at RDU.
2 people are facing charges after Hillsborough police say a child custody dispute turned violent. Police say Jimmy Smith is facing charges including assault with a deadly weapon, shooting into an occupied vehicle, and resisting an officer. The charges came after officers were called to Cheshire Drive for a reported kidnapping. Instead, they found a child custody dispute. No one was hurt. The child is safe. Smith is being held without bond at the Orange County Jail. A second person was also charged with resisting an officer.
2 cyclists are recovering this morning in Durham after being hurt by a hit-and-run driver. It's the latest in a series of crashes in the city. The crash happened Saturday morning near Oakwood Avenue and Primitive Street. 3 women were riding together near that intersection when police say a pickup truck hit 2 of them. The driver left the scene. One of the women describes her thoughts in the moment.
This terrifying reaction of, what's going to come from this? Like, I feel like we're going to be really hurt from this.
The city of Durham says it's working to improve bike safety. That includes adding 8 miles of bike lanes. Work on that project is expected to wrap up later this year.
Despite being an accredited institution, once again, St. Augustine's University is still on probation. Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission reversed the decision to strip the school of its membership. So St. Aug's lost its accreditation back in December of 2023.
An acceptance speech from the woman who was crowned Miss Kansas is going viral. We'll show you the moment she called out her abuser in the crowd and why people are grateful for her courage.
Also, more people are using marijuana before or during pregnancy, and it's raising concern with health officials. The serious risk that increases when using marijuana during early pregnancy.
And this is a live look at Lewisburg. It's going to be a little hotter today. Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth will time out when we could also see spotty showers this afternoon.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
Welcome back. I'm meteorologist Amy Wilmoth in for Elizabeth this morning. And again, we have the tower lit up in green because we expect another round of rain and storms. But it's not going to happen until later on today. At least the morning commute looking pretty dry at this point. We should be dry for the first half of the day. So hopefully things are better out there for the morning commute. It's very warm, very muggy, though. It's 75 in Raleigh, the dew point in the low 70s, upper 70s in Clinton with the dew point in the upper 70s as well. So very, very sticky as you step outside. So just know that if you're about to head out for a run, it's going to be very humid. You're going to start sweating very, very quickly. Later on this afternoon, if you plan to exercise, just get ready for the heat. Our high temperature up to 91. Coming up, I'm going to show you who has the highest heat index. Looks like everybody will feel like triple digits.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will address Congress later this week. Ahead of that speech, he met with family members of American Israeli hostages. The meeting happened at the Watergate Hotel. It also included family members of more than a dozen Israeli hostages who traveled to the U.S. with Netanyahu. The families are demanding that he accept a hostage deal. They want him to make the announcement in his address to Congress tomorrow. There will be extra security around the Israeli embassy and Capitol Hill as thousands of protesters are expected. Demonstrators were outside of the White House yesterday to protest Netanyahu's visit to Washington. They held signs, chanted, even spread fake blood on the ground to protest a war in Gaza. Netanyahu is expected to meet with Biden today. However, the president has been in isolation, recovering from COVID. If the meeting happens, Netanyahu will be the first foreign leader to meet with Biden since he announced that he is abandoning his campaign for re-election.
A new trial date has been set in the case of Karen Reed, the Massachusetts woman accused of the death of John O'Keefe, her police officer boyfriend. This comes after a mistrial was declared this summer. A new jury trial has been scheduled for January. Reed is charged with second-degree murder, manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence, and leaving the scene of a fatal accident. Prosecutors claim Reed killed her boyfriend by hitting him with a car during a snowstorm in January 2022. Jurors could not reach a verdict in the murder trial earlier this month. North Carolina Republicans don't think Democrats have a better chance in the state now that President Biden is out of the race. Before Biden dropped out, polls showed him trailing Republican Donald Trump in the state. Trump won North Carolina by less than 75,000 votes in 2020. North Carolina Republican Party Chairman Jason Simmons thinks Trump would win again if Harris is nominated.
Whoever their candidate is, they're still going to have to address, especially if it's Kamala Harris, who has been an enabler for Joe Biden.
And we are excited.
When asked about Governor Cooper being on the short list for VP, he said he didn't believe Cooper's record would stand up to scrutiny.
A newly posted video of Miss Kansas calling out her domestic violence abuser from the stage the night she was crowned is resonating with thousands. Alexis Smith was crowned Miss Kansas in June, but posted the video of her onstage comments just this past week on X. She called out her own abuser from the stage while she says the person was sitting in the audience.
My vision as the next Miss Kansas is to eliminate unhealthy and abusive relationships. Matter of fact, some of you out in this audience saw me very emotional because my abuser is here today. But that's not going to stop me from being on this Miss Kansas stage and from representing as the next Miss Kansas. Because
Smith's statement against domestic abuse and her courage to speak out is being praised online. Smith and other state winners will compete for the Miss America crown in January.
We are learning more about the potential danger to mothers who use cannabis before or during early pregnancy. A new study indicates there is an increased risk of serious, potentially life-threatening complications like gestational hypertension and preeclampsia, which are both disorders of high blood pressure. The research comes as more women report using marijuana to ease nausea, pain, stress, and to help with sleep during pregnancy. Researchers say the number of women who use marijuana during pregnancy has more than doubled over the past 20 years.
Two more Durham playgrounds where officials found lead in the soil now have fencing installed. Lyon and Walltown parks are two of the 5 parks where the state DEQ will analyze soil found to contain high levels of lead. These parks have already been closed. Officials say the additional fencing will help keep people out and ensure safety during the testing.
Drivers in Arizona had to contend with this Sunday. A dust storm caused major visibility issues in suburban Phoenix. Thousands of homes and businesses also lost power because of the windy conditions there.
Students studying to become game developers at Wake Tech are showcasing their skills. Students in the simulation and game development program will present their original video games today. The annual showcase is a capstone project in which students work together to design a game for a company from scratch. It begins at 5:30 this evening. Presentations begin at 7 at the Student Services Building at the Southern Wake campus.
4:47 the time right now. Amy Wilmoth in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at our satellite radar right now.
Yeah, at least things are quieter this morning for the morning commute, but late this evening, we do expect another round of showers and storms, and it's all because this frontal boundary is still in the area, and it doesn't get out of here until maybe over the weekend, and that's when we could see a change in our pattern and a drop in some of our rain chances. Here's a look at Futurecast for the morning commute. We're mainly dry. I wouldn't rule out a stray sprinkle or two, but mainly dry for the morning commute. Lunchtime, if you want to run some errands, looking pretty dry at that point as well. It's beyond lunchtime. We'll start to see these scattered showers and thunderstorms, and for the evening commute, we'll likely have some pockets of some heavy rain. This is 6 p.m. We'll have scattered showers and storms, with the biggest threat with the storms today being localized flooding with some of those heavier downpours. 8 p.m., we might have a line develop over the western part of the area, and that will move through. We might see some gusty winds with those, maybe some small hail, but again, some heavy downpours could lead to some flooding, especially because we've had so much rain in many locations over the last several days. And this is new for today. The Weather Prediction Center upgraded our flood risk for today. A good part of the area under that medium risk for flooding. Our southeastern counties under a low end threat for flooding for today. So another day with some heavy rain, and we could be dealing with more flood concerns later today. Pretty quiet out there in North Hills. It's in the mid 70s right now in Raleigh and Durham, 74 in Rocky Mount, 73 in Southern Pines. Hour by hour today, we should stay dry for the morning commute, aside from maybe a sprinkle or two. And then at lunchtime, we're at 85 degrees. It's going to be very warm and very muggy with dew points in the low to mid 70s. So it's going to feel maybe more like the low 90s. And then the high today, it's going to be a hotter day because the rain gets started a little bit later in some spots. So we could get up to about 91 with heat index values even higher. And notice those storm icons are a better chance for storms happening later on today. But check out how hot it could feel today. We could feel like 105 in Raleigh and Fayetteville, 104 in Durham, 101 in Southern Pines, 103 in Rocky Mount. So we have some pretty high heat in the forecast for today. The evening commute, we'll be dodging some of those storms again, so take it slow. Temperatures will be in the 80s during the evening commute. Tomorrow, it's another round of showers and storms with a high of 90. A little cooler with rain likely Thursday and Friday. Saturday, a slim chance for a storm, and then a drier pattern finally as we head into Sunday.
Good morning, I'm Chris Levingood in the WRAL Live Center with some breaking news that we're on the scene of right now. These are live images coming out from Clayton right now, where the Clayton police chiefs have just confirmed that there were 2 people who were shot overnight. One person has very serious injuries, even threatening their life, and one other person has non-life-threatening injuries. Now, they're both treating these scenes that we're talking about here as if they're connected. One of these scenes is on Pond Street, and then the other is on East Joyner Street. You'll see here there are Clayton police walking past that crime scene tape as they continue to investigate. Don't see any evidence markers in this particular shot, but as you keep going over to the left, our photographer keeps on panning, you'll see there's that house that is surrounded by that crime scene tape. Well, we are still trying to get more information. As a matter of fact, reporter Laura Levine is out there right now. She will have another live update in about 10 minutes, trying to take us a little more into the scene in terms of what she is seeing right now out there physically on the ground.
4:51, Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign is getting a boost from pop music. The support she's seen from musicians after announcing her run for president.
And 2 of the UK's most well-known soccer teams will play in Chapel Hill tonight. The free transportation that's ready for fans. Vice President Kamala Harris made a big entrance during her first official visit to her campaign headquarters last night by walking out to Beyonce's song Freedom. A source close to the campaign said Beyonce gave them permission as soon as they asked, even though she is known for having strict clearance guidelines. So far, the multi-Grammy winner has not endorsed Harris, but her mother, Tina Knowles, has. Beyonce has historically endorsed Democratic candidates.
For the first time in 3 months, there's a new #1 album on the Billboard chart. David Daniel reveals who knocked Taylor Swift from the top spot in today's Hollywood Minute.
So when McGuire got bit by a spider, me must have got bit by a goat.
The death of Slim Shady, Coup de Grace, is Eminem's 11th career #1 album on the Billboard 200. Billboard reports it debuted with the best sales week of any rap album this year. That ends the 12-week run at #1 of Taylor Swift's The Tortured Poets Department, which fell to #4.
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Sony isn't waiting to cast its reboot of its 1997 horror hit, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Original stars Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are in talks to return, alongside younger stars Madeline Klein from Outer Banks and Glass Onion, Tiny Beautiful Things actress Sarah Pidgeon, a Tony nominee for Broadway's Stereophonic, and Jonah Hauer-King, who played the prince in the Little Mermaid reboot, as well as Camila Mendes from Riverdale and Tyreek Withers from Atlanta. The new film is due in theaters July 18, 2025. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Tonight, two of the UK's most well-known soccer teams will take the pitch at Keenan Stadium. Manchester City and Celtic FC will face off in a game as part of the 2024 FC Series. Both teams were at Wake Med Soccer Park in Cary last night for an open practice. Man City had the biggest crowd of supporters. Fans were especially excited to see Erling Haaland, one of the world's best players. And Celtic has its share of passionate supporters as well. Tonight's game at Keenan Stadium kicks off at 7:30.
If you need a way to get to the big match at Keenan Stadium tonight, you can take the trolley for free through downtown Chapel Hill and Carborough. It will stop at different businesses offering specialty food, drinks, and prizes. No tickets or reservations are required. The trolley runs from 1 to 9 p.m. We're following breaking news in Clayton, where police are investigating a shooting that injured 2 people early this morning. We'll have a live report from the scene with what we've learned from the police chief.
Kamala Harris is making her case for why she should get the Democratic presidential nomination. How much money has been raised after Harris's first official day on the campaign?
And lawmakers want answers as airlines struggle after a global tech outage. The new call from Congress for the CrowdStrike CEO to testify.